of hard work, and I think we are beginning to see quite significant success in this area. Next is, Your Excellency, you may remember you launched the 10-year Innovation Master Plan on the 27th of November. And you do remember we put together this conceptual framework diagrammatically to show what are some of the inputs that government is going to prioritize over the next 10 years to amplify the position of innovation and knowledge economy in Kenya. The first one was human capital development for innovation. Second is access to finance. Third was access to market, infrastructure, and policy. Now, this Presidential Innovation Award, the way we've structured it, is basically building on these three pillars. One is the human capital development for innovation. So we're very intentional that beyond just the award is about strengthening the capacity of innovators to create commercially viable solutions. Two is access to finance. We are intentional that we are actually supporting financially. And thirdly is access to market, that these ideas must find their way to market and grow. On the next slide is what did we walk through as a journey. As the CS said, in August we kicked off and we went ahead and did the judging in November. We did pitching during the Innovation Week. We celebrated with them during the Jamhuri Day around that time when we hoped we would announce. But then we just continued as we waited for this day, and we've initiated the Accelerator Program. In the Accelerator Program, it's largely about capacity building and making sure that the resources we provide, whether it is monetary or otherwise, are used appropriately for purposes of growth. Even the disbursement of this award is pegged on certain deliverables. So we get into a venture development plan with the startup and kind of support them specifically as they move up the value chain. And then now we will look forward to a graduation as we gather together everyone to assess the progress we've made and celebrate together and move to the next round. Because of the time we had late last year, we started a bit late. This year we intend to start earlier. We picked 284 candidates from all the counties. And then we shortlisted to 219. We went into a robust process of evaluation and arrived at 30 winners per county, one winner per county for 30 counties. And the CS actually awarded them $500,000 during the Innovation Week as part of the support process. And today, the winner will receive $5 million. That is in addition to the $500,000, the runners-up and the second runners-up. And in a little while, we will know who these three are. Next, please. So this is the journey. Sir, if there's one ambitious thing I am looking to grow, is the Presidential Innovation Award, Challenge and Award. Largely because I am so persuaded. I've moved around universities, TVETs, counties, and the potential that I see of young people who really are trying to solve something, but they are constrained, either in terms of know-how or resources. And so what we've done, now we've got a pilot. This pilot is the winners here. You're seeing one per county from 30 counties. What we want to do this year is we're targeting 500. And we think we will succeed largely because we are attracting a number of partners. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So we look to get 500 winners in 2024 by the time we are at the Innovation Week in November. Next year, we're targeting 1,000. The following year, 2,000. By the time we're in 2027, it's 5,000 startups. Now, I'm not talking about innovators. I'm talking about startups, because startups is an institution that has a team, has a system, is creating jobs, is scaling. And this is what we've simulated. Bare minimum is that the startups that we have here will generate anything between 3 and 10 jobs per startup in 1 year. If you do that on an annual basis, by the time we are 4 years down the road and we add 500, 1,000, and 2,000, we'll be talking about over 150 direct jobs in those startups. And we're here because of job creation and wealth creation. It's not for fun. I keep saying that if we are not going to create wealth, then it's just a hobby. It's just fun. But here we're trying to work hard and create jobs and wealth. And we also see, I've had an opportunity to talk to some of the startups on the indirect jobs that they will create. In other words, they will sell. Housing is a big deal now. There's one startup that is working on an affordable solution for, construction. Imagine the number of indirect jobs that will be created if we support them. Now, we have a number of partners who have expressed interest in joining and hand-holding and co-creating with us. Our way, for example, is here. Amazon, we've had conversations. KCB Foundation, Safaricom. Jitume Labs have also become a flagship opportunity for us to leverage the county offices. Next slide, please. So, sir, within that frame of the Presidential Innovation Award, we think that the policy space is crucial to think again and again and push hard as we can to get it all right. And within the same framework, we have the fifth pillar, which is the policy. And the two things that I know you care a lot, one is, of course, the startup bill, and the second one that I want to introduce to you is the Global Innovation Index. And here are the reasons why. On the startup bill, this is the opportunity on the next slide, please. This is the opportunity we have to put the incentives right. But sir, before I tell you a little bit about the incentives, which to a large extent you do know, I want to explain this fairly sophisticated diagram to demonstrate to you that we understand innovation and we understand how to structure it at a national level. Now, innovators basically move from what we call TRL level 1 to TRL level 9. This is technology readiness. And until we mainstream this philosophy, then the interventions that we provide for different startups along the journey could be misplaced. Now, in TRL level 1, we think more about basic principles of research, basic research, and so on and so forth. We move into applied research. We move into technology development and value proposition that meets the needs of consumers and users. We move up to the business modeling, value proposition, penetration into the market, and then we go into market sophistication. Now, the risk we can have, and sir, I do not mean to say anything complicated, but it is very possible that unless we mainstream such a system, it means that I can access funding from the Women Fund and access the same money from the Youth Fund, and you do not realize. If we don't consolidate and ensure that we work in separate spaces and consolidate the data towards the end. So as we move up, what government does at the initial stages is to provide de-risking funding that help to validate business concepts. And then as we move up the value chain, then we give resources. For example, we think the Financial Inclusion Fund as a loan product would be excellent at that space in terms of testing the business. And then as we get out, we attract private sector to actually invest in the startups and free off the government. And that's our dream to strengthen this system. Along the way, of course, we've got different players in terms of incubation, in terms of research, in terms of technology transfer, and science parks, and so on and so forth. And this is what the Innovation Agency is just trying to mainstream across government, the way we support the startup ecosystem. On the next slide, then, is our contribution towards the startup bill and the startup law as we move forward. Personally, I've put in quite a lot of time in that journey of adding value on how that document would be amazing. For us as an innovation agency, it's right at the center because it's a cross-cutting issue. And management of the data and presentation of the realities that we face is what the innovation agency is going to do. And across that is to work with different ministries. Ministry of Education is excellently placed for pipelining, building talent and skills, and introducing them into the startup ecosystem. Trade, for example, is amazingly presented for purposes of providing infrastructure, for prototyping, the KIRDIs and the CAL, and so forth. And as you move up, here is ICT, facilities and infrastructure, and so on and so forth. So we all have a role to play. Last but not least, then we think this is where we to sort out our incentives. The second last slide is the Global Innovation Index. So I've had an opportunity to spend some time. This is the mechanism globally now used for ranking the competitiveness and innovativeness of countries. It requires submission of data. It comes from different stakeholders. There are many constructs that are used for the Global Innovation Index. Your Excellency, I'm really hoping we're going to mainstream this Global Innovation Index as an effective